Hey there, fellow soil enthusiasts! I'm thrilled you've joined me here at Soil Sensei, where we dig deep into the secrets that make our gardens thrive. Today, I'm sharing one of my absolute favorite gardening hacks that'll transform the way you think about your kitchen waste forever. We're talking about turning those everyday scraps into what gardeners lovingly call black, gold-rich, nutrient-dense compost that'll make your plants practically dance with joy. If you've ever felt guilty tossing banana peels or coffee grounds into the trash, or if you've wondered how to give your garden that extra boost without breaking the bank on expensive fertilizers, this article is your golden ticket. I've been composting for over a decade, and I can honestly say it's been the single most rewarding practice in my gardening journey. Let me show you exactly how to master this game-changing technique. Before we dive into the how-to, let's talk about why this matters so much to us as gardeners. Every time you throw away vegetable peels, coffee grounds, or eggshells, you're literally throwing away nutrients that your plants are craving. Those scraps contain nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and dozens of micronutrients that commercial fertilizers simply can't replicate in their full complexity. I remember when I first started gardening, I was spending a fortune on bags of compost from the garden center. Then my neighbor, an old-timer who'd been gardening for 50 years, showed me his compost bin. The rich, dark, crumbly soil he pulled out looked better than anything I'd ever bought. That moment changed everything for me, and I know it will for you too. You know, the beauty of composting kitchen scraps isn't just about the end product, though that black gold is absolutely incredible. It's really about creating a complete cycle in your garden ecosystem. By composting, you're reducing waste, feeding beneficial microorganisms, and creating the foundation for healthy soil that'll support your plants for years to come. Composting might seem a bit mysterious at first, but honestly, it's actually a beautifully simple process that's been happening in nature for millions of years. When you create the right conditions, beneficial bacteria and fungi go to work breaking down organic matter, transforming it into humus-rich soil amendment that's, well, pure garden magic. The key here is understanding the balance between greens and browns. Your kitchen scraps are mostly greens. They're nitrogen-rich materials that provide the protein these microorganisms need to multiply and thrive. Browns are carbon-rich materials like dried leaves, paper, or cardboard that provide energy and help create proper structure in your compost pile. Think of it like feeding a campfire. You need both kindling and logs to keep it burning properly. In composting, greens are your kindling. They heat things up and get the process started. Browns are your logs. They keep things burning steadily and prevent your pile from becoming a smelly anaerobic mess. The easiest way to fail at composting is to make it complicated or inconvenient. I learned this the hard way when I first started, trying to run out to my compost bin with every single banana peel. Trust me, that gets old fast, especially in winter or when you're in the middle of cooking dinner. Instead, set up a simple collection system right in your kitchen. I use a small stainless steel container with a tight-fitting lid that sits right on my counter next to the coffee maker. Every morning when I'm making my coffee, I empty it into my outdoor compost bin. This daily ritual has become so automatic that I don't even think about it anymore. So you want to choose a container that's large enough to hold a day or two worth of scraps, but, still small enough that it doesn't become an eyesore or start to smell. Stainless steel or ceramic works best because they don't absorb odors or stain like plastic can. And hey, if you're worried about fruit flies, just keep your container in the refrigerator or freezer until you're ready to empty it. This is where, honestly, a lot of beginning composters get confused, so let me give you the straight scoop on what kitchen scraps work best. Your compost pile will absolutely love fruit and vegetable peels, coffee grounds and filters, tea bags. Just remember to remove the staples first, crushed eggshells and even small amounts of stale bread or pasta. Coffee grounds deserve special mention here because they're composting gold. Despite what many people think, used coffee grounds are actually neutral to slightly acidic, not highly acidic. They add nitrogen and organic matter, and in my experience, plants absolutely love compost that includes coffee grounds. I've built relationships with local coffee shops who save their grounds for gardeners. it's worth asking if there's a shop near you that might do the same. Now let's talk about what to avoid. Skip meat, fish, bones, dairy products, oils, and pet waste. These materials can attract pests, create odors, or introduce harmful pathogens to your compost. Citrus peels are controversial. Some composters avoid them completely, but I include small amounts without problems. You don't need fancy equipment or a huge yard to make incredible compost from your kitchen scraps. I've successfully composted in tiny urban spaces, using nothing more than a large plastic storage bin with holes drilled in it. The key is creating the right environment for those beneficial microorganisms to thrive. For a simple bin system, choose a container that's at least 18 gallons but not larger than 32 gallons for easy management. Drill quarter-inch holes every 6 inches around the sides and bottom for airflow and drainage. Place your bin in a spot that gets some sun but isn't in direct scorching heat all day. Alright, so you want to start with a layer of browns. I like to use shredded newspaper or dried leaves for this part. Next, you just add your kitchen scraps, then go ahead and cover those with another layer of browns. And hey, if the materials seem dry, lightly water them. The magic really happens when you maintain the right moisture level. Your compost should feel like a wrung-out sponge, moist but not dripping wet. Even experienced composters run into issues sometimes, so don't get discouraged if your first attempt isn't perfect. The most common problem I see is a smelly, slimy mess that happens when there's too much nitrogen-rich material and not enough carbon-rich browns. The fix is simple. Just add more browns and turn your pile to introduce air. If your compost seems to be taking forever to break down, it usually means it needs more nitrogen, so add more kitchen scraps, or maybe more moisture, or even more air circulation. I like to turn my compost with a pitchfork every 2 weeks, which, honestly, speeds up the process considerably and prevents anaerobic conditions. Fruit flies can be annoying, but they're usually a sign that you have exposed food scraps on top of your pile. Always cover fresh additions with browns, and consider keeping a layer of finished compost or soil on top of your active pile. This creates a biofilter that prevents odors and discourages pests. After 3 to 6 months of regular additions and occasional turning, you'll start to see the transformation happening. The materials at the bottom of your bin will become dark, crumbly, and smell like rich forest soil. This is your black gold, and it's ready to work its magic in your garden. I like to harvest compost by stopping additions to one section of my bin and letting it finish, while starting fresh in another area. You can also use a simple screening method. Just dump your compost onto a large piece of hardware cloth and shake it. The finished compost falls through while larger pieces can go back into your active pile. Don't worry if your finished compost isn't perfectly uniform. Those small pieces of eggshell or coffee filter will continue breaking down in your garden soil. The goal isn't perfection, it's creating nutrient-rich organic matter that'll transform your soil and boost your plant's health and productivity. Now comes the really fun part, putting your black gold to work in your garden. I mix my finished compost into planting holes when I'm setting out transplants, use it as a top dressing around established plants, and work it into my vegetable beds each spring. The results are always remarkable: stronger plants, better disease resistance, and significantly improved soil structure. One of my favorite ways to use kitchen scrap compost is creating a compost tea for liquid feeding. I fill a 5-gallon bucket with water, add 2 shovelfuls of finished compost in a mesh bag, and let it steep for 24 to 48 hours. This creates a nutrient-rich liquid fertilizer that gives plants an immediate boost while continuing to improve soil biology. Remember that compost is a soil amendment, not a replacement for soil. I typically aim for about 20 to 30% compost in my planting mixes, which provides incredible nutrition without overwhelming plants with too much richness. There you have it, fellow gardeners, your complete guide to transforming kitchen scraps into garden gold. This simple practice has revolutionized my gardening and saved me hundreds of dollars in fertilizer costs over the years. More importantly, it's connected me to the natural cycles that make gardening so deeply satisfying. I'd love to hear about your composting adventures. Drop a comment below sharing your biggest composting win or challenge. And if this article helped you see your kitchen scraps in a whole new light, please hit that subscribe button and share this with your gardening friends. Together, we're building a community of soil-savvy gardeners who know that the best gardens start with great soil. Happy composting, and remember, every scrap counts toward building the garden of your dreams.